Hi everyone. Do you remember what happened last week? That Joseph was tempted by Potiphar's wife, and then she made up this lie about him, and of course Potiphar believed it, because you would typically believe your wife over your slave. And then Joseph gets thrown in jail. Well, now we're going to learn what happened while Joseph was in jail, or in prison. So as we mentioned, Joseph has this leadership ability. So he is put in charge of the prison pretty much, and he's a prisoner in the prison, and he's put in charge of the prison, and the prison warden doesn't have to worry about anything since Joseph is running things. Well, while Joseph is in prison, on one of the mornings, he overhears two men talking about these strange dreams they had. And it's the cupbearer and the baker that both worked for the king or the pharaoh. And it says that he was angry with them, so he put them in prison. And then the prison warden, or the captain of the prison, assigns these prisoners to be under Joseph's watch. And it says after they had been in prison for some time, they started having this dream. And it wasn't just one time random dream. The same dream every single night. So no wonder it's kind of freaking them out. I mean, I've had weird dreams. I think we all have. But you usually have them one night, and then you kind of forget about them. But if you're having the same dream night after night after night, you're going to start wondering what's up with this. So then Joseph, he hears them talking about it, and they're really worried about this. So he asks them, why are you guys so sad? Is everything okay? Anything I can help with? And they reply saying, we both had dreams, and we've had them night after night. We don't know what to do with them. And he says, no one knows how to answer them. And Joseph says, well, listen, do you not know that interpretations of dreams come from God? Tell me your dreams. So the cupbearer goes first, and he says, in my dream, I saw a vine in front of me, and on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed, and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them in a cup, and served it to Pharaoh. And this is what it means, Joseph said. The 3 branches signify 3 days. And in 3 days, your position will be restored, and you will once again be giving Pharaoh his cup. So that's a really good turnout for the dream. So the baker's like, okay, that worked out really well. And so then the baker says, okay, I too had a dream. Let me tell you my dream. And he says, in my dream, on top of my head were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating out of them. And Joseph says, here's what it means. In 3 days, the baskets are 3 days, so again, here's a thing of 3. And within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head, meaning Pharaoh's going to behead you, and you're going to die, unfortunately. He says, and the birds are going to eat at you after you're dead. And now this makes the baker angry. Because here's the cupbearer getting this really good news, and then he's not getting such great news. And then before those 3 days come up, as Joseph is interpreting this dream, he says something to the cupbearer. And he says, but when all this goes well with you, will you remember me? Will you mention me to the Pharaoh and get me out of this prison? I was carried away from my family. I was put wrongly in prison. Will you remember me? And the cupbearer agrees, because he's really happy to get this news that he's going to survive, and that he's going to return to his position giving drinks to the king, or the Pharaoh. So then the 3 days come up, and it says that it was Pharaoh's birthday, and he's having this big party. And it says that he did kill the baker, and he restored the cupbearer to his position. And then, so this is all great news. What Joseph foretold happened. But guess what? That promise that the cupbearer made to tell the Pharaoh about Joseph, he forgot it. So now Joseph is still left in prison. What's going to happen next? Well, you're going to have to join us next week to find out. But before you go, let's talk about our memory verse and our challenge. So we'll switch things up and let's first do the challenge. We are given 2 dreams, and they're pretty descriptive. We don't have colors, but we know like the amounts, what he was near. Like I'm near some grapevines right now. There's no ripe grapes, but there are plenty of green grapes. Plenty of green grapes that will be wonderfully ripe soon. So I want you to pick one or even both of the dreams, and I want you to draw what you think the cupbearer or the baker saw. We know that the cupbearer was with the vines, and there were 3 branches with a grapevine. And we know that the baker was carrying 3 baskets of bread on his head. The rest is up to you to let your imagination go with it. And our memory verse for this week comes from 2 Peter. And it's 2 Peter 1, verse 21. It says, "For prophecy never had its origin in the will of man, but men spoke from God as they were carried along by the Holy Spirit." So now first I have to preface with this, saying, at the time of Joseph, the Holy Spirit wasn't sent by God. Because the Holy Spirit is part of the Trinity, it always existed, but it was not active in the way it is now. But with that being said, the prophecy still comes from God. Joseph didn't just have this ability, like some people were really good at reading or math. It was a God-given gift to be able to hear a dream and interpret it and explain what it means. So I want you to remember that what Joseph was doing was from God. It was through God that Joseph was able to predict what would happen based on people's dreams. I hope you guys have fun answering discussion questions, memorizing 2 Peter 1:21, and doing the challenge. As always, I'm doing these right along with you. And remember that the story you heard today is more than a story. It is a true account written in the Bible, which is God's love letter and message to the entire world. And that includes you and me. And remember, as like a bonus point to this lesson, don't be like the cupbearer and forget promises that you made to people. So until next week, bye!